Pep Guardiola's Barcelona of the 2010-11 season is one of the most unstoppable forces in the history of football. They crushed Mourinho's Real Madrid 5-0 and left no chances for Alex Ferguson's Manchester United in the Champions League final. In today's episode, we are about to find out where fate took each member of that squad and where they are now. The Inside Football channel is with you, so be sure to give us a subscribe, and we are getting started. OneFootball will bring its library of video content to the big screens for the first time. The OneFootball TV app is now available on Apple TV OS and Amazon Fire TV devices around the world, with Android TV, Samsung, and LG Smart TVs to follow before the end of the year. The entire ecosystem of OneFootball video content from the world's top clubs, leagues, and federations are available to watch now, alongside free and paid live matches, highlights, and breaking news now on the big screens. If you are in the UK and Ireland, you can watch this weekend's Serie A game, Bologna vs Sassuolo, among many others. Go check it out! We'll be moving from goalkeepers to forwards. So the number one goalkeeping choice back then was Victor Valdés. After the remarkable season, he spent another 3 years in the capital of Catalonia, eventually joining Manchester United. Unfortunately, he turned out to be a complete flop of a transfer, as there was no sign of him becoming a constant pick there. He also had an unsuccessful loan to the Belgian side Standard Liège. At last, Victor spent a season in the Premier League as the main goalkeeper for Middlesbrough, after which he retired from professional football. In a while, Valdés received a coaching license. In 2019, he unsuccessfully managed Barcelona-2011. In 2020, he headed Spanish fourth-tier club Porto, but as for this moment, Victor is out of work. A backup goalkeeper, Jose Pinto, became a musician and singer at the end of his career path. He performs under the pseudonym Pinto Wine, with his most popular clip reaching 27 million views mark on YouTube. Apart from his main occupation, Pinto works as a dance teacher. Well, what can we say? Good job, Jose! As we know, ageless Dani Alves still plays the number one game, and at the age of 39, he is going to participate at Qatar World Cup with Brazil. Alves remained at Barca until 2016, then went on a tour of different continents. He played for Juventus and PSG in Europe, returned to Brazil to represent Sao Paulo, and even had a short spell at Barca once again last year. Since July, Dani has been performing for UNAM Pumas in the Mexican League. Could someone stop this machine? Another fullback from Brazil, Maxwell, was also a part of that Barca. He did not take a significant role in the team though, and is better known in Europe for his spell at Ajax and PSG. Now he has hung out his butts working as a sports coordinator at PSG, whatever that means. Javier Mascherano, on the other hand, was Guardiola's starter that season. It was Pep who transformed the Argentine from a defensive midfielder into a centre-back. It was this position that got Javier famous as Blaugrana Valuable Unit. After quitting Barcelona in 2018, Mascherano spent one season each at Hebei China Fortune and home side Estudiantes, then decided that he had enough and ended up retiring. However, Javier still had a place for football, pursuing a coaching path as an alternative. Since January 2022, he has been in charge of the Argentina U20 team. Another Argentine centre-back of that stellar Barcelona was Gabriel Milito. Due to his frequent injuries, Gabriel never had much gaming minutes at the roster, so he left Barca at the end of the season. A year later, he abandoned playing the game at all. Nevertheless, Milito is currently the boss of Argentinos Juniors. Gerard Piqué's name has been on everyone's lips as he had recently announced his retirement and made his last appearance at the Camp Nou to say goodbye to defense. There will not be many updates for you here. Piqué was in Barca all this time, providing titles for the club's trophy cabinet. Gerard is predicted to become the future president of Barcelona, and that's why we will closely monitor his endeavors. Nowadays, he is a famous businessman. His Cosmos company brings Piqué millions of profit, not to mention him already being the president of FC Andorra. Another fullback from Brazil in Guardiola's squad was Adriano. The guy was never a choice for the starting 11, but remained a reliable backup option until he left the Catalans in 2016. He did not announce retirement, but still has no team to represent. Moreover, Adriano is serving a 14-month prison sentence for tax evasion. Believe it or not, but the legendary Barcelona captain Carles Puyol, who spent his entire career wearing Blaugrana jerseys, was not much involved in the legendary campaign due to injuries. Despite that, he remained the leader of the dressing room. Back in 2014, he finished his on-pitch career and immediately received an invitation to join the club management. However, he worked in the club structure for only 6 months and has taken the decision to resign. Now Carles is fully engaged in charity work and recently had openly apologized for the bad joke on Twitter. Things were completely different for Eric Abidal, yet another starter of that season. The Frenchman left Barca in 2013 in order to play a bit for AS Monaco and Olympiacos and retire. Abidal plotted to become a football official, and in 2018, Barcelona actually appointed him as sporting director. However, nothing good came out of it. Eric was sacked after the crucial 8-2 defeat to Bayern. Soon after, instead of noble acts, Abidal got more involved in scandalous chronicles. In November 2021, Eric was suspected of having an affair with PSG footballer Heira Hamraoui, resulting in Abidal's alleged divorce with his wife. Eric is also constantly haunted by the story of the liver transplant in 2012, which saved his life. The media reports that the Frenchman obtained it illegally, while Abidal still claims that it was his cousin who donated the organ. The scandal still goes on, it doesn't look like it might fade away anytime soon. The first midfielder in our list, Sergio Busquets, is a truly unique player. After all, he is the only active footballer of the squad who keeps playing for Barcelona. Apparently, this season will be the last for him in a Blaugrana jersey. Besides, the Spaniard is predicted to move to MLS in the summer of 2023. Thiago Alcantara also had his place in that Barca roster. Even with his background of the Catalans graduate, he did not progress beyond the bench-warming role either in the 2010-11 campaign or later on. In 2013, he joined Bayern Munich, where he became a world football superstar, won all possible trophies, and is now performing for Liverpool for the 3rd season straight. Another central midfielder, Seydou Keita, had set a very interesting achievement back then. The Malian was a substitute player, but managed to appear on the pitch in almost every game. As a result, he made an appearance in 56 matches, more than any other player throughout the 2010-11 season. Seydou left Barca in 2012 and retired in 2017 after a season at Qatar side Al Jaish. The media highlights Keita owning factories in Mali and doing charity work in his native country. Alright, bringing out heavy artillery. Xavi from those times is definitely one of the world's best players. His contribution to Guardiola's success in general, and in that fabulous year in particular, cannot be overestimated. Xavi was seen at Barca until 2015, after which he was on his way to Qatar's Al Sadd, where he eventually hung up his boots in 2019. Starting right from the next season, he took over his Qatari club as the head coach. In 2021, he quitted Al Sadd in order to make a grand return to Barcelona as a first-team manager. Where Xavi is, there is Iniesta nearby. They are like Gandalf and Dumbledore, these sources of Barcelona's magic. That season, Iniesta enjoyed a standing ovation from fans in almost every stadium in Spain. The reason behind such a gesture was the Spaniards' World Cup final goal, which brought Furia Roja victory in the tournament. Andres left Barca 3 years later than Xavi in 2018, choosing Japan as next destination. Since then, the man continues to delight the local fans with his performances for Vissel Kobe. The first offensive line entrant in this video is Pedro, a guy who was never considered a superstar but was constant in Guardiola's Barca. He left Blaugrana in 2015 and joined Chelsea instead. After a while, the Spaniard switched London to Rome, where he stood out by first playing for Roma and then turning to their bitter enemies Lazio. Pedro remains a member of the Eagles camp up to this day. Efren was never a groundbreaking asset for Barca. Many may remember him for the goal against Real Madrid in that famous 5-0 triumph. He's currently spending time at the Thailand side Lamphan Warriors. Afellay came to Barca as a starter with incredible potential, but he was never able to properly establish his qualities at the roster. Next in line were transfers to Schalke, Olympiacos, Stoke City, and PSV. Speaking of today, Ibrahim works as a TV pundit. David Villa was Barca's newbie for that period, but nothing could stop him from becoming a first-team regular and scoring lots of goals, including the one in the Champions League final. Villa ended up spending a total of 3 seasons at Camp Nou. Then he was seen at Atletico Madrid, New York City, Melbourne City, and Japan's Vissel Kobe, where he crossed paths with Iniesta and retired in 2020. David is now the owner of the new Queensborough team, which will only begin its journey in the second strongest US league in 2023. Villa is also an official of the Indian club Odisha FC. In other words, he surely has a lot of work to do. Interestingly enough, Bojan Krkic is a player who was endowed with more potential than Lionel Messi at some point. In fact, the 2010-11 campaign was his last in Barca jersey, foreshadowing his big tour, which included following "Take as more air in your chest as you can" clubs: Roma, Milan, Ajax, Stoke City, Mainz, Alaves, Montreal Impact, and finally Vissel Kobe, where he continues playing alongside Iniesta. No doubt, Bojan did not manage to realize his true potential, but hopefully he had a lot of fun at least. Sure thing, we have prepared the one and only Lionel Messi for a dessert. In those days, we had a demon who destroyed everyone in his path and snatched top titles, both on the team and individual levels, one after another. After all, there is no need to list the Argentines' regalia. Everyone already knows the whole premise. Thanks to inadequate management, Messi was literally forced to leave Barca 2 years ago, and now at 35, he is once again tearing opponents apart as part of the PSG roster. What's more, he is soon to enter his 5th World Cup race with Argentina. It only remains to enjoy the genius swan song sung at the international level. And how could we forget the puppeteer of the whole spectacle? Pep Guardiola quit Barcelona in 2012 and successfully coached Bayern Munich for 3 years. In 2016, he took the job at Manchester City, where he still works and strives to finally lead the citizens to such a coveted victory in the Champions League. Folks, give this video a like if you enjoyed the topic and write in the comments below the fate of players of which legendary squad you would like to know more. That's all for today. It was Inside Football. We watch football from a different angle. Have a nice one and see you in a bit.